Imagine someone offered you $1 million to stay calm during an argument. Would you do it? Of course. Now ask yourself, why do you give away something far more valuable than money for free? Your peace. Imagine waking up every morning and giving a stranger the password to your mind. Every insult, they decide your mood. Every rude comment, they decide whether you have a good day. Every argument, they determine your peace. It sounds ridiculous, yet millions of people do exactly that. Not consciously, psychologically. Someone ignores your message and your mind spirals. Someone criticizes you and suddenly you begin questioning yourself. Someone cuts you off in traffic. A co-worker speaks disrespectfully. A family member makes another passive-aggressive comment. A stranger leaves a hateful comment online. And just like that, your peace is gone. But here's the truth. They didn't take your peace, you surrendered it. Because anger often feels like something other people make us experience. They made me angry. They ruined my day. He gets on my nerves. Listen carefully. People can provoke you. They can disappoint you. They can betray you. They can hurt you. But whether they govern your inner world is a completely different question. The strongest people you will ever meet are not those who never encounter difficult people. They are the people who refuse to let difficult people move into their minds rent-free. Because anger is expensive. It steals attention, it steals clarity, it steals energy, it steals years from your life. And the tragic part is the person you're angry with is often living peacefully while you're carrying the emotional bill. Imagine drinking poison and expecting someone else to become sick. That is how uncontrolled anger works. Not because anger is always wrong. Sometimes anger points toward injustice. Sometimes it reveals a violated boundary. Sometimes it tells you something must change. But living inside anger is very different from learning from it. The goal is not to become emotionless. The goal is to become so emotionally grounded that other people's choices, that other people's chaos no longer become your identity. Because maturity is not measured by how loudly you react. It is measured by how little unnecessary chaos can enter your mind. And now we are going to explore 10 psychological principles that will help you stop giving strangers, critics, difficult people, and even those closest to you authority over your emotional life. Because the day you stop allowing everyone else to control your nervous system is the day you become truly free. Most people believe anger comes from other people. It does not. It comes from the meaning you assign to their behavior. And that is where your power begins. Not when people change, when you do. Number 1 rule. People can only trigger what already exists inside you. This is one of the hardest truths to accept. Nobody creates your anger. They reveal it. Think about it. The exact same comments can make one person laugh, and another become furious, and another feel nothing at all. Same words, different minds. Which means the event was never the whole story. Someone calls you lazy. If you secretly fear that they are right, it hurts. Someone calls you ugly. If your self-worth depends on your appearance, it hurts. Someone disagrees with you. If your identity depends on always being right, it hurts. People don't always hit your wounds. Sometimes they simply show you where the wounds already are. Instead of asking, why did they say that? Ask, why did that affect me so deeply? Because healing begins where defensiveness ends. Number 2 rule, stop taking everything personally. Here is something that changes your life. Most people's behavior has very little to do with you. The rude cashier, the impatient driver, the jealous co-worker, the stranger leaving hateful comments, the friend who suddenly becomes distant. You assume it is about you. Most of the time it is not. People speak from their conditioning, their pain, their fears, their insecurities, their childhood, their stress, their emotional maturity. You are often meeting people at the level of their own inner world, not yours. A bitter person finds reasons to be bitter. A peaceful person finds reasons to remain peaceful. Never assume you are the cause of someone else's lack of emotional control. Sometimes you are simply standing in front of it. The moment you stop believing everything is about you, half your anger disappears. Number 3 rule: your peace is too expensive to trade for every opinion. One careless comment and your entire day is ruined. One criticism and you're replaying it for hours. One rude stranger and your nervous system belongs to them. That is an expensive trade. The emotionally mature person understands something. Not every opinion deserves a response. Not every insult deserves your attention. Not every invitation to conflict deserves your presence. Silence is often the highest form of self-respect, not because you have nothing to say, but because you realize that protecting your peace is more important than winning every battle. Some people want a reaction. Don't reward them with one. Some people want control. Don't hand it to them. Some people want to pull you into their chaos. Wish them well and remain where you are, because the strongest mind isn't the one that defeats every opponent. It's the one that knows which battles are beneath it. The greatest misconception about emotional control is that calm people are simply born that way. They aren't. They've simply learned something most people never do. You cannot control what people do, but you can become so psychologically stable that they lose the ability to disturb your inner world. That is a skill, and like every skill, it can be practiced. Number 4 rule: pause before you react. Anger loves speed. Wisdom moves slowly. Think about every decision you've ever regretted while angry, the message you should not have sent, the words you wish you could take back, the relationship damaged in a single moment. Anger whispers, react now. Wisdom says, wait. 1 deep breath, 1 minute, 1 walk, 1 night's sleep. That tiny space between what happened and how you respond is where emotional mastery is born. The strongest person is not the fastest to react. They are the fastest to regain their awareness. Because once your emotions take the steering wheel, your intelligence moves to the passenger seat. Number 5, stop expecting everyone to think like you. One of the biggest sources of anger is expectation. You expect people to be honest, to be kind, to be mature, to communicate well, to be loyal, to have your values. Then they don't, and you're shocked. But why? Every human being has lived a different life, a different childhood, different wounds, different fears, different beliefs, different levels of emotional maturity. Why would you expect someone? Why would you expect everyone to see the world through your eyes? The moment you stop demanding that reality behave differently, you stop creating so much unnecessary suffering. Acceptance is not approval. It simply means you stop arguing with what already is. Some people will lie. Some will gossip. Some will disappoint you. Some will never understand you. That is life. Your peace depends less on changing them and more on accepting who they have shown themselves to be. Number 6 rule: some people want your reaction more than your attention. Not every argument is looking for the truth. Some arguments are looking for a victim. Some people don't care whether they're right. They care that you are upset, because your reaction makes them feel powerful. Have you noticed that certain people become calmer the angrier you become? That's because they've succeeded. They've succeeded in pulling you into their emotional world. Don't go. Not every insult requires a defense. Not every accusation requires an explanation. Not every misunderstanding needs to be corrected. Sometimes, walking away is not weakness. It's wisdom. Because when someone is determined to misunderstand you, no explanation will ever be enough. And when someone is committed to peace, very few words are needed. Protect your energy. Not every invitation to chaos deserves your attention. Number 7 rule: detach your ego from every conflict. Ask yourself a simple question: why do I need to win this argument? Is it because the truth matters, or because my ego does? The ego cannot tolerate being wrong. It cannot tolerate being ignored. It cannot tolerate losing. But a mature mind understands something that ego never will. Being right isn't always worth losing your peace. Sometimes the greatest victory is refusing to compete, not because you gave up, because you realize that not every battle improves your life. Some only drain it. You don't have to prove your intelligence to someone determined to misunderstand you. You don't have to defend your worth to someone committed to devaluing it. You don't have to fight every opinion that disagrees with yours. Confidence does not need constant confirmation. It remains calm because it knows its value without applause, without agreement, without victory. There comes a moment in everyone's life when they realize they have spent far too much energy trying to manage other people, trying to make them understand, trying to make them respect them, trying to make them love them, trying to make them change. And one day something shifts. You finally understand that the only mind you were ever meant to master is your own. That realization will change you. Number 8, emotional distance is a superpower. You don't have to attend every emotional battle you're invited to. You don't have to attend every emotional battle you are invited to. Most people live reactively. Someone raises their voice, so they raise theirs. Someone becomes disrespectful, so they become disrespectful too. Someone gossips, so they gossip back. Without realizing, they are allowing other people to dictate their character. The emotionally mature person asks a different question. What kind of person do I want to be, regardless of who I'm standing in front of? That is power. Because your character should never be a reaction to someone else's. If someone is cruel, that is their identity to manage. Don't make it yours. Emotional distance doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop absorbing. Not every emotion belongs to you. Not every problem is yours to solve. Not every person's chaos deserves a home inside your mind. Number 9 rule: forgiveness is not for them, it's for you. Holding on to anger feels powerful. It feels like justice. It feels like protection. But over time it becomes a prison. Because every time you replay what they did, your body experiences it all over again. Your nervous system does not always know the difference between memory and reality. So while they've moved on, you remain emotionally chained to the moment they hurt you. Forgiveness does not mean they were right. It does not mean what happened was acceptable. It does not mean that you must trust them again. Sometimes forgiveness looks like distance. Sometimes it looks like boundaries. Sometimes it simply means, I refuse to carry you inside my mind any longer. Because the opposite of forgiveness isn't justice, it's captivity. You remain connected to the very thing you're trying to escape. Set yourself free. Not because they deserve peace, but because you do. Number 10 rule: your calm is your greatest advantage. There is a reason the calmest person in the room often holds the most power, because panic clouds judgment, anger clouds judgment, fear clouds judgment, but calm sees clearly. Calm notices what everyone else misses. Calm listens. Calm observes. Calm chooses. It doesn't simply react. The person who controls their emotions cannot easily be manipulated, cannot easily be intimidated, cannot easily be provoked, because their center is internal, not borrowed from other people, not dependent on circumstances, not determined by someone else's mood. That kind of stability takes years to build, but once you have it, very little can take it away. Imagine someone who used to upset you saying the exact same things today. Would they still have the same power over you? If the answer is yes, don't judge yourself. Simply ask, what part of me still needs healing? You will never reach a day when difficult people disappear. There will always be critics, always be rude people, always be manipulators, always be those who misunderstand you. That is not the challenge of life. The challenge is deciding how much access they deserve to your inner world. Because every time someone else controls your emotions, they become the author of your day. Your peace was never meant to be that fragile. Real strength isn't winning every argument. It is refusing to become someone you dislike because someone else lost control. Your greatest revenge is not anger, it is indifference. Your greatest victory is not proving them wrong, it is proving to yourself that your peace is no longer for sale. Because the day you stop allowing other people's behavior to dictate your emotional state is the day you become psychologically free. And freedom is a far greater feeling than being right. It has been my pleasure as always to sit with you. This has been the Human Mirror. Look closely, you are never invisible. I'll see you in the next reflection.